Today we have a doubled up update news for you guys covering the entire Christmas period and what Wargaming have planned for the next 2 weeks leading up to January 1st and the return of kind of the standard stuff that we're going to be seeing over the course of next year. So I'm going to cover all of the news that you need to know about the upcoming game modes. We have a ton of challenges. We've got some sales that Wargaming are doing at the end of the year so that you can pick up some vehicles that maybe you'd like. And straight out the bat, we do have a few things to cover. So right out on release tomorrow as of the recording this video, or at least currently I guess as we're kind of watching this, is that the toy tank mode is released in World of Tanks. So when you jump onto the game, you'll be able to join in with the toy tank mode. The toy tank mode this year has a couple things to it, and essentially, as with every year recently, we've been having these kind of holiday game modes. Of course, if you want to actually jump in and play it, all you have to do is in the same screen that you would see Cold War and World War II when you first log into the game, there will be a toy tank game mode that you can essentially just join in and play, and it's basically the exact same as what we had previously. But as you can see here, this is the vehicle that you will be playing during the mode, and it is a 7 versus 7 multiplayer battle underneath a delightfully decorated tree on the exclusive Happy Holidays map, which is essentially a load of presents all lined up in kind of this toy box style area, of course supposedly within the garage of the actual game itself, if that makes sense. So when you log into your garage, it looks like it's kind of within that garage. Obviously it's just a made up garage, it's not your exclusive garage, but essentially you're kind of on the floor is what you're technically playing as, if you know what I mean, but obviously scaled up so that it looks like you're full size. But what we see here is the two different tanks. You can play as the red or you can play as the green, and there's two different tanks. And so yeah, it's essentially a typical game of World of Tanks, but there is a jumping tank within the game. So a points counter will show you how many enemy tanks your team needs to destroy in order to win. The first team that destroys 20 tanks is the winner, so it's slightly different to the normal game modes that we have in the game, and essentially it is respawns enabled, so if you die you can come back, you can play, but obviously the more times you die the worse you're going to do for the team. And so you just have to be the destructors or the most destruction within the game to actually win, which is a good feature. I think it's kind of cool that they've changed it up a little bit this year as opposed to the bog standard kind of game mode where it's just kind of search and destroy on any of the other games that kind of are available, you know, where you only get one life. And of course they have a few power-ups apparently. So the first one was jumping tanks. Yeah, you read that correctly. Press your handbrake button, so down on the D-pad in the default controller layer, and that will execute a well-timed jump in your toy tank or our toy artillery. And so you'll be able to actually do a jump, which is kind of cool. So yes, that will be available for you guys. So it's the handbrake button. Whatever you've assigned that to, it will be that button. Can I earn silver in toy tank mode? There's no current silver earnings in this, but there is a stocking stuffer challenge where you get random loot drops for every battle that you play, and season points towards the Battlefront season also count. So yeah, you can get silver and season points towards the season that we're currently in, which is the Battlefronts 1. And so yeah, what else can you get? Can I earn vehicle XP, free XP, or commander XP in toy tank mode? You can only earn Commander XP in toy tank mode, and Commander XP will be boosted, so nice to see that. So it's a great time to actually train up your crews within the game if you haven't got 9 skill crews. Highly recommend utilizing this with some XP boosters as well, putting on your ×6 or ×10 or whatever it is that the maximum is, just basically rinsing through those if you do decide to play the mode. Can I use commanders in toy tank mode? You sure can. Commanders placed in a toy or artillery vehicle will be sent back to your recruitment tab when the event ends. You know you want to see Krampus in a toy tank, and this is a great way to level up your commander or any other commander you have, including the new new Mrs. Claus, which we have available as well. So yeah, this is the Commander. I'm sure some people will be thirsting to be able to actually pick this one up, but for me myself, not interested whatsoever. But at least there's the Santa 3D Hero Commander, which kind of looks cool as well. But other than that, what about equipment, camo and cosmetics? So there are very specific designs, and this means they cannot use equipment or any kind of cosmetics, which is great. I think this is a good thing. It means that everyone can play at the same kind of level field, other than the commanders, of course. And will I pay for repair costs? The toy tanks are magical and there are no repair costs, which is great. So obviously you can just make pure silver from the stocking stuffer challenge. And in terms of what you can actually get from the stocking stuffer challenge and how you get it, it's winning a battle will give you the one of the following drops awarded at random, so you can get any of these. You can pick up a ×3 vehicle XP booster, 100,000 silver, 60,000 silver, 4 times commander XP boosters, double silver boosters, or a Battlefront season point. You can pick up some emblems, which are the snowball turret, festive yeti, and penguin salute, which you can see here on screen if you're interested and want to have a look. So you can just pause the video if you're interested to have a more in-depth look, but they are pretty bog standard and of course are emblems anyway. So either way, moving on, the Naughty or Nice challenge. This is the available from December 23rd through to January 1st. So you got 4 days until this actually goes live into the game. And it will be the first time you receive a Naughty drop. You'll also get the lump of coal medal, which I think I've got on the account multiple times at some point. So yeah, you can get a medal. It's exclusive to kind of playing during Christmas time. And the Naughty or Nice challenge gives you a variety of different things, including some new garage gear as well, which is the giant candy cane, which you can put in your garage. You got a festive fireworks pile and snowman 1, which is like an upside down weird snowman doing a head spin. Not entirely sure what's going on there, but I mean, if you want it in your garage, you can get it. And essentially, these are all part of the Naughty or Nice challenge, whereby all you have to do is win your first battle of the day. And it's available once per day per tank. So you can do multiple of these if you're playing in loads of various different tanks in the same one. So yeah, that's kind of cool. Looking forward to getting a free stuff as well as those silver boosters, because yeah, they'll be nice for grinding out a bit of silver. And if you haven't seen my video recently, I highly recommend going to check out how you can earn the most silver right now, as it's going to be a big part to pay for some of the tech tree sales, which we'll cover in a minute. But yeah, there's a full video on that, and that was yesterday's video, or the day before yesterday even. So you can have a look at that one that I recommend. And then yeah, the Naughty list, this is win your first battle of the day and you could be in the Naughty list, which gives you only 1 commander XP, 1 vehicle XP, or if you've never had one before, you'll also receive a lump of coal medal as well. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool. I like these events. I think they're good. It's nice to have a variety of different stuff that you can do during the holidays, and I think that's a good way of doing it. Of course, then we also have released right now the Double Tap TS-54, which is the dual barrel American tier 9 tank that is actually a tier 8 on PC, and they decided not to really change the tank but put it up a tier. I don't quite get why they put it as a tier 9. Of course, being a tier 9 premium, they don't earn extra silver like you usually do with tier 8 premiums, so you don't get any silver bonus when you're playing this tank, which is a bit of a kind of sucky one. And it also costs a ridiculous amount of gold to be able to get it as well, which we covered in the update news video last week when this was kind of revealed. But either way, yeah, the double barrel or double tank or double tap, even if I get it right properly, is the TS-54, and of course has 2 barrels. There's a surprise. But yeah, either way, we'll be doing a full review of this, so hopefully tomorrow when this video goes live. And yeah, it'll be good to kind of get that one out of the way and see what it's all about in the game, whether it is even remotely close to worth it. But I can already tell you it's probably not worth the money, unless of course you got an abundance of money and you're happy to throw, you know, 50 quid to Wargaming for 1 vehicle. But either way, then we had the holiday ops. It's still going on right now, and yeah, you can just continue with that. We've covered it plenty of times, and if you need a refresher, you can go back to the videos which did cover that. It was not long ago, so it should be pretty easy to find. There's loads of news articles and news videos, and you can easily find the news videos by just looking in the title, they all have news, the ones that are relevant to that. Special advent calendar then, of course, that's continuing as usual, and you want to make sure to receive a gift every day, although it was a bit dodgy at the beginning, so I'm not entirely sure whether or not everyone did actually get what they wanted, but make sure that you log in every day for the actual stuff that you can get, as you can get some pretty decent boosters and that sort of stuff for the day. And then of course challenges and events, these are kind of exclusive to the Christmas period, and the first one is Mummy's Little Tanker. Bit weird, but that one, but either way. Okay, destroy 20 or more vehicles in any number of winning battles. That will give you 1.75 times your silver and 3 vehicle XP. But there is a catch, it can only be completed 3 times per account. So it's essentially 60 wins during the Christmas period, and on every time that you complete this, you'll get 3 times or 1.75 times the silver. So yeah, it's nice to have. But of course, it's going to take a while to destroy 20 or more vehicles, depending on how well you play or how much experience you have in the game. It might make it a lot easier or a lot harder to do that. But it is available to everyone. You don't have to pay anything, which is always nice. So and little bonus to play in the game during this time. The tank connoisseur, you got win 1 battle and you'll get 1.5 times vehicle XP, which is great. And that can be completed once per day per tank. So any tank that you play, the first game or the first win of the day will give you 1.5 times XP, which is nice as well. So great one for just grinding through a few different tech trees all at once. And then moving on, we have the second week challenges, as this is the second kind of, there's 2 kind of updates in one covered within this news article, which is brilliant. And the weekly challenges for week 2 are following 26th of December to the 2nd of January. And the first one is Bruiser's Bounty, where you can deal 500 or more damage and you get 1.25 times vehicle XP. So very, very easy to be able to do this one. And that's available once per day per vehicle as well, which is fantastic. Perfect 10 then is the alternative one, which is destroy 10 or more vehicles in any number of battles to get 1000 vehicle XP. Remember, this will be applied only to the tank that you were playing and when you complete the operation. So for example, if you really wanted the XP on, I don't know, the Barras, for example, and you played 9 games in it, decided to then go ahead with 1 kill per game, and then decided to play the M6 or something like that and got 1 kill at the end of it, then you would end up getting the XP on the M6. So just be sure that the vehicle, when you complete the challenge, is the vehicle that you want the XP on, and that's only available once per day. But it's a nice little extra. And then the Hadron Collider, this is the kind of big one for grinding right now, and this is available for 2 weeks, and essentially what it is a chained challenge. Deal progressively higher damage to your enemies in each consecutive multiple player battle, and after you finish stage 4, if you keep dealing twice the damage of your maximum health in damage every battle, you'll keep your times 2 vehicle XP bonus until you break the chain even. And so this is kind of like string theory, but slightly worse. And you essentially, the first one is deal 0.75 times the maximum health or more damage in a battle and you get 25% XP. Then if you complete the first one and go on to the second one, deal 1 or more times the maximum damage of your or health of your tank, you get 50% XP. If you complete that after completing both of the previous ones, you have to do them in consecutive games. So if you end up not actually managing to complete it and you end up doing less damage than the requirement, you'll go back to stage 1, if that makes sense. So you have to do it continuously, and if you mess up or you kind of don't do well in a game, you can end up having to go back to the start of the operation and it starts again. So either way, the deal 1 times, then you move on to Hadron Collider 3, where you have to deal 1.5 times your health, and that will give you 75% more XP. And then if you could deal 2 times your maximum health in a battle, you'll get 100% XP. So double XP if you can maintain a 2 times or more maximum health or in your game in damage. So this is pure damage. It doesn't appear to be assistance or any related damage that comes with your tank. So assistance, spotting assistance, that sort of thing. So it's just pure damage by the looks of things. And so if you then manage to complete all 4 stages and then you continuously just end up being able to complete the challenge, get double your hit points worth of damage, then yeah, you'll just continuously get 100% XP until you end up failing, at which point you will then get kind of go back to the beginning of the kind of operation / challenge. So it's going to be really good, I think, for the majority of players. Essentially, the first set, so basically every game that you play should have about 25% vehicle XP, based on dealing 0.75 times your maximum health. So it's a nice little booster for the average player, and players that have got a little bit more experience and can successfully be able to deal at least 1.5 times your damage, or 1.5 times your health as damage, then yeah, you'll get a nice little booster to your kind of vehicle XP as well. So I highly recommend you go out and use and play as much as possible during the Christmas period, just to grind out any of the tanks that you have. If you do so, obviously don't go coming onto World of Tanks during, you know, family events, unless of course you got time or you want to, whatever. But yeah, just grind it out when you got a bit of spare time and enjoy your time with your family when you can. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to emphasize, is that just because there's good events going on at the moment in World of Tanks, don't waste your time doing it if it means sacrificing some of the best times. So yeah, I highly recommend you know, putting it on the back burner, but it is there if you do want to grind out some World of Tanks and you got some time in the evenings, or you're kind of full up from all the food that is about to be consumed during Christmas. Yeah, I highly recommend playing a bit of tanks if you've got some time. But either way, then moving on, we got the Naughty and Nice drop challenge, which we've covered, and then the Metal Feast or Metal Fest Encore, which is still going on. Very expensive tanks in that one. It's just basically bonuses, XP boosters and actual tanks and commanders and stuff from the Megadeth and of course Metallica, I believe, or something like that. And then of course holiday sales, you have silver and free XP conversion bonuses, and discounts on tech trees. So for this, there was a 30% discount on all tech tree vehicles, which is amazing. So make sure that you're purchasing all of your tech tree vehicles that you need during this time, because you'll just save yourself silver. And yeah, pick up some of the XP if you do want to convert some. It's a good time to do it, and that's available right now. So when you log into the game, you can do that. So the first sale that we do have then is the T-72 Ural, the Era 2 kind of Soviet or Eastern Alliance heavy tank that you can pick up, and it's okay, it's a decent one, but kind of pretty boring and basically the same as all of the other T-72s in the game. But that's 7.2k gold for 30% savings. Then you've got the IS-5 or the Object 730, and this is a tier 8 Soviet heavy tank, 8.6k gold with 30% saving, and the French tier 8 medium tank, the M4A1 Revelarize, for 5.3k gold with a 30% savings. In terms of like, do you necessarily need these tanks? Are they amazing? Some of them worth actually getting. For me, probably none of these are particularly insane, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting any of them. The IS-5 is decent. The Ural is very boring, and there's lots of variants of the T-72 that you've probably played in Cold War, and they're free as well. So yeah, I don't necessarily say go out and get any of these. And the Revelarize is a pretty annoying medium tank to play for the majority of players, but it is a fun one if you are kind of more experienced in the game, and it can be good with its 390 alpha damage at tier 8 as a medium is quite nice, but for the most part not that competitive in terms of being able to do really well every single game. And then the next one is December 26th. So this is after these sales end. You've then got a few more, which starts off with the FE214 Conqueror Mark II, which did get buffed after the release of the tank because it was a bit rubbish, and it has 8,000 gold as the cost with a 30% savings. So this is Era 2 Western Alliance heavy tank. Probably should be in Era 1 to be honest with you, but I don't think it's that competitive even with the buffs, but it's still decent. And so yeah, I mean, if you want some silver earners in Cold War and you don't already have some, maybe worth it. And then the next one is the Western Alliance heavy tank for the kind of, I guess, the more broken users of the game. 9,000 gold for the FV4211, which is one of the most broken tanks in Era 2 in the game. And yeah, 9,000 gold for this one at a 30% saving. So yeah, maybe you want to pick up this one, maybe you don't. But it is a pretty outrageous vehicle and decent at earning a little bit of silver as well. And then the final one is the French Tier 8 light tank, the ELC Even 90 for 4,800 gold at a 30% saving as well. And this one it's really fun. It's not that competitive anymore on console because spotting mechanics on this game have been kind of dumbed down, whereby everyone has crazy spotting, and the bush mechanics in the game don't seem to work the same as they do on PC, whereby even when you're using the bushes like 100% effectively, pulling back behind the bushes, you still typically will get spotted anyway. Even in a light tank with crazy camo, it can still be used, and granted, if you're using them 100% right and someone's far enough away, you don't get spotted, but it's certainly nowhere near as effective, so it makes the tank a little bit less kind of useful in the game. And obviously the mediums in the game have very good view range anyway, so they often kind of, you're competing with them, and everyone has coated optics or advanced optics, which means that view range is less of a thing within the game. So yeah, it kind of ends up being a little bit of pain to actually try out some of these tanks that would be amazing if the spotting was a little bit better in terms of kind of remaining hidden, using bush mechanics properly. It's just another little thing that I think needs to be addressed in console with how they actually work, or at least tell us why they aren't the same and why you get spotted infinitely easier on this game versus on PC. Either way, moving on then, the Boxing Day sales. So these are when, of course, Christmas is all done and over, and leading through to the new year and past there to the 9th of January, you have available a 50% savings on a ton of vehicles, and these are kind of great. However, there is some really annoying vehicles that Wargaming have decided that they're going to re-release because they really care about not introducing more and more of the broken premium tanks into the game that people are complaining about. So the first one is the Crimson Collection. This is 17,900 gold, and it's actually, if you're interested in making silver but not wanting to play Cold War all of the time, this is the best bundle you can buy. Genuinely the best bundle you can buy. That is because all of these tanks have a 75% silver earn rate, and so yeah, you're going to be able to earn a ton of silver. This is the silver earn rate. It's off the screen at the minute, unfortunately. I don't know if I can just quickly show you that it is actually the silver earn rate. There you go. Hopefully you can see it, but essentially that is what you can actually earn in the game, 75% extra, and that is available on the Ragnarok, the Hydra IS-6 and the Minotaur, all of which are amazing tanks, and they're very, very powerful. The Minotaur KV5 has been buffed over the standard KV5, and that's because it meets tier 10. It's not a preferential matchmaking vehicle, the same as the Hydra IS-6. Both of these two are better than their other kind of premium versions, so the IS-6 General Edition or whatever you want to call it, and the KV5's Normal Edition. They've been buffed so that they can deal with tier 10 matchmaking, and they've got improved penetration, that sort of thing. But all of these tanks are really, really good. And so if you really wanted to spend some money on premium tanks, this is probably the bundle that I would recommend if you didn't just want to buy them individually for a 40% savings. Now, obviously that is a brilliant idea to do as well if you are wanting to actually save yourself a little bit of gold and not have to purchase all of them. Maybe you just want one really good silver earner, then that's kind of the way you can go. The cheapest one to actually do that with is the Ragnarok, and this is probably the one that I would recommend the most. It's a ton of fun to have a tier 8 autoloader with 3 shells with 360 or 320 damage. Yeah, so 320. So 960 total damage in the clip, and that's really, really great. And it's a very, very solid premium tier 8 vehicle. And it earns 75% silver. So yeah, it's a really, really nice vehicle. Same as the Minotaur and the KV5. And you can pick those up individually for a 40% saving. But if you want them all, you can get that extra 10% savings. So yeah, just make of that what you will. Of course, don't go out of your way to spend money if it means you don't get to do other things in real life. But if you are wanting to spend some money on the game, it's a decent option. And then we had the Cold Steel Trio. Now these vehicles, off the top of my head, give you more Commander XP. Yes, they do. Yeah, so these get the same silver boost as standard premiums of 150%, but they also get 175% crew XP earn rate. So these are amazing for grinding out crews when you are wanting to get better crews in the game. Now, the Earthshaker was available recently, so you probably don't want that tank again. But if you do buy the bundle and you already own some of the tanks, you get the gold value back. Just make sure that that is the case when you do jump into the game. It will tell you what they actually get rewarded back for. So just double check that. Basically, every time I've bought a bundle that I have a tank in, it always gives me the gold value back. But just be careful that it doesn't have like skins and stuff in there, because if you don't actually want the skins or anything like that, it won't re-give you the gold back for the skin if you already or if you don't already have it, because sometimes you might have the premium but you don't have the skin, but you don't want to pay for the skin. So just be careful with that. You might end up actually getting charged when you are doing it, but it will refund you whatever the sale price of the premium tank is. It doesn't, you can't game the system and get the full price of the tank back. You will get it at the discounted price that you are kind of buying it for. So when you buy this bundle, you'll get a 50% off of the Earthshaker if you already have it. So yeah, you'll get the price back for whatever the value of this is as part of the bundle, and then you get the other two. So say for a kind of argument's sake, the Earthshaker is 7,000 gold for the actual tank. You would end up paying 10,000 gold for the other two vehicles, and of course that is slightly different in game and how much it actually costs, but you know, you can work that out if you want to. But all of these are actually very solid tanks as well. So the Crimson Collection and the Cold Steel Trio, these are both very, very good sets of tanks. And so, yeah, I have them all, luckily enough, but they are all very, very good, and you can't go wrong with any of them. So, yeah, I think you'll have a great time with any of those. And then, I can already hear the Cold War boys crying in absolute disbelief that the Wargaming have re-released the Wiesel in the Boxing Day sales for a 30% discount for 10,000 gold. We know how absolutely overpowered the Wiesel is and how much of a disgusting little tank is, and I'm going to tell you now, Wargaming, I have no idea why you've re-released this tank. They absolutely messed this tank up in the beginning, and they made it way too annoying. They made it tiny, they made it take no ramming damage when you ram the thing, because apparently it would just bounce in real life. I mean, I don't know if my understanding of actual kind of structural analysis is completely wrong, bearing in mind I'm a structural engineer, that if you hit something at like 70 kilometers an hour and it's the size of a normal car and you're driving a giant tank and it's stationary and you're going at 70 kilometers an hour, that the tank would just move along with the or the Wiesel would just move along with the tank. But apparently that's how it would actually work in Wargaming's eyes, and so the Wiesel doesn't take basically any ramming damage for a tank that is tiny. Take for example the EOC EVA 90 that we talked about earlier. If you hit that with something going 70 kilometers an hour, it's dead. I don't know why the Wiesel has a slightly different model and why they couldn't actually give it decent ramming damage or take decent ramming damage, but yeah, unfortunately, it's really annoying. And of course, it gets a missile launcher that is capable of dealing 1,300 damage with 800 pen and 1,000 pen on its premium rounds. And don't worry, because at least Wargaming gave it extra damage when you use the premium rounds. Extra pen, more damage, literally no reason that you wouldn't fire actual premium ammunition. And it has a 65% silver bonus when you're playing it, because who wouldn't want to make, you know, 500,000 silver a game, hitting people for 1,400 damage, not really having to worry about bouncing in a tank that can't really be hit because it's so small. Yeah, I don't see any problems with this, and it goes 80 kilometers an hour as standard, and of course can be boosted up using some of the equipment. Brilliant idea. Now, if you were thinking that that was a brilliant idea, the next one is, oh look, another tank that we really don't want to see again, re-released and everyone jumping into it. It is the AVRE. Yes, they couldn't just do it on Cold War. They had to drop in a little bit of spice on World War II again, which is the FE 4003, the Centurion 5 AVRE, which is of course one of the most annoying and probably my most infuriating style of tank in World of Tanks, which is one where all of the absolutely atrocious people go around. They don't have to aim. They can hit you for 500 damage. If they don't pen, just any tank they hit for 500 damage. Doesn't matter whether you're a super heavy German tank or a lightly armoured medium tank. In fact, it does. You get penned for 1400 if you're a lightly armoured tank. But yeah, a nice little 1100 damage if they pen you with their premium rounds, or 1400 with their standard rounds. And of course, to make matters just that little bit worse, it gets really annoying armor as well. So yeah, it's very difficult to pen it. And so not only does it deal 500 minimum damage to you using HE Splash, it will then also be able to bounce a few rounds of yours if you don't hit its weak points, which are really annoying to hit if for the average player and someone that isn't maybe as experienced. So yeah, thank you Wargaming for re-releasing the two tanks that everyone complains about. It's like as if you kind of don't understand why you get so much flack, and I'm sure that the Twitters and Facebooks and people who like to use various different platforms to communicate with Wargaming will be loving this, that they've re-released both of the most annoying tanks in the game. So yeah, great work. I literally don't understand their logic. They make some terrible decisions and then double down on them by just re-releasing them. They should just never release these tanks ever again. They're toxic to the game. They've ruined the game, and I literally don't care. This is terrible decision making from whoever decided this. So yeah, I'm just telling you now, I am in complete agreement with these tanks just never being released ever again. It is toxic to the game. It's disgusting that Wargaming keep releasing them. And why do you think that is? Because they're charging 10,000 gold for the standard one and 16,000 gold for the tier 10 AVRE. Thanks Wargaming. Literally, what is this? Like, genuinely, it's infuriating. Why? Literally, why? It's so annoying. Like, they make decent challenges, they make decent stuff, they re-release tanks that are pretty good but aren't overpowered, they give them a decent price, and then they come out and they're like, you know what, just to kind of put a little bit of excrement all over what the good work that we've done by re-releasing stuff that's kind of cool at a decent price, we'll then release the actual, like, bottom of the barrel dirty kind of scum water that you just don't want to see in the game, and we'll release it again for everyone to purchase because of course they're so competitive in the game that, you know, you want to have one because otherwise, you know, you're not actually competitive. I mean, for me, I hate playing these sorts of tanks anyway because they are just overpowered, and I mean, it's not exhilarating, it's not fun to do like a ton of damage in the Wiesel. It's equally not fun to play the AVRE because most of the time it's the tank doing the work and you're limited by the tank itself as to how much damage you can deal, even though it's way above the average. Yeah, it is kind of the pond scum water coming into effect, and they're re-releasing them for a 30% discount. So yeah, hopefully you understand my rant, my frustration with why they do these sorts of things. It's like they understand that these are broken. They've seen infinite amounts of kind of complaints from players. They see infinite amounts of kind of comments and everything from everyone that plays the game, and then they go ahead and do it anyway. Like, let it be. Just stop re-releasing your broken premium tanks. There's no need to re-release them. Just let them be, let them die out and basically go into the back of everyone's garages, rather than just bringing them out every now and again for the sales and then charging ridiculous prices for them. By the way, I would never ever recommend anyone spending 16,000 gold on the AVRE, regardless of how annoying it is to play. It's really boring to play anyway. The tank is very, very boring to play. It's just super, like, do you know what I call it? I call it like the dumb tank. The literal, like, you have to not think in this vehicle. you basically roll around, bounce a few rounds, fire at anything that you can, splash it for 500. Sometimes if you want to pay attention, you can actually deal 1400 damage if you find targets that are really weak. And by weak, I mean, very weak that, 240 pen can't pen, or 185 with your standard pen, and then deal damage to those. But if you are mind-numbingly bored or just can't be arsed with the game, you could just roll around in this thing and not have to do anything. Luckily, it doesn't get any silver boosters, so at least you get that over the Wiesel. But yeah, I implore everyone to avoid buying these tanks and paying any money to Wargaming for re-releasing this absolutely turd of a thing. So yeah, I literally don't get it, Wargaming. Why do they do this? But there you go. Enough of that. I think we've kind of expressed my opinion. And if anyone from Wargaming is watching, I really hope that you understand that this is a detriment to your game. Yes, it's short-term profit, but the more of these things in the game, the worse it gets. And it's already bad as it is with all of the Wiesel 1A1s going around in Era 3. So please stop releasing these annoying, just boring tanks that just are just counterintuitive to any level of thought process within the game. Like, it's bad enough the YOLO meta in Cold War as it is, and the state of Era 3, and re-releasing vehicles like this in both Tier 10 and as a kind of Era 3 vehicles, it's just not good for the game, and it teaches nothing about what the game's actually like for any other vehicle than these sorts of ones. You just don't get away with the stuff that you do with any of these, and it's teaching you nothing. And so yeah, it just is not fun for the new player as well who's coming up against them either. So yeah, just please stop with these just stupid tanks coming out every single time. And let's hope that next year we don't see any more of these kind of BS kind of premium tanks that are coming out that are just super annoying. And yeah, oh god, please no. Anyway, on a bit more of a positive note, for those of you wondering, is the tank of the month worth it this month? Well, yes, this is actually one of the best possible December tank of the months. It's a complete contrast. There we go, look. Decent stuff, terrible. Oh look, let's add in something really good as well. So for the price of £10, you can get yourself 850 gold, the Hydra IS6, which is amazing, and you can get yourself some premium time and some silver boosters for $10. Of course, that translates to whatever it is in your currency. It might be like £7, or it might be $15 Canadian. I have no idea what the conversion rates are. I could look them up, but I'm sure you know better than I will be. So yeah, just convert $9.99 into whatever currency where you're at, and that's how much it's going to be. And it's available for PlayStation and Xbox, either one. So yeah, very, very good one. 75% silver bonus. We covered it. Very, very good tank. Really enjoyed playing it. Highly recommend actually jumping in and getting these vehicles for $10 if you do want to spend $10. This is probably the best way to do it, at least in terms of premium tanks. Anyway, moving on, weekly sales, here we go. The weekly sales, you've got 1.5 times silver boosters for 20, and the T95E2 post-war era 1, Western Alliance medium for 4,450 gold, and 870 gold for the 1.5 times silver boosters, which actually isn't too bad. But yeah, either way, nice little extras. That's available now. And then the weekly deals, week 2 is the 4 times Commander XP and 3 times Vehicle XP, and that is 850 gold for 10 of each. 58% savings, not bad. And then the Minuteman T29, this is a brilliant one. It is probably overpowered or much more competitive than the majority of vehicles in the game. At the end of the day, it's a T29 that's got a load of spaced armor all over it. So you can imagine that that's not particularly the best for your enemies, but it's brilliant for whoever plays it. And of course, being a mercenary tank, it was during kind of the mercenary era where they slapped spaced armor over everything. And of course that got really good reception when they decided to slap spaced armor on every tank, and especially tanks that are very, very good. But 3,620 gold for this. I highly recommend picking this one up if you have that available. If you have it kind of left over, then go ahead, pick this one up. I think it's a good one to get. Then we have some super savings for December 19th to the 26th. and that is premium time for 1 day. You can pick up enhanced med kits and enhanced repair kits. These are probably never anything I would recommend picking up. They are not worth it, in my opinion. They will be at a 50% discount, but for me, not worth it. I don't think there's anything here to really talk about. And then the same thing is on December 26th. You get a load of consumables for the Cold War version of the game at a 50% discount as well. So yeah, nothing too much that I would recommend. And then the final bits are the resolution season. If you manage to complete this season and you've done a load of them, you can pick up the Calliope T34 to be able to secure that when it actually comes out. So yeah, really nice one. And then dog camos and emblems, blah blah blah, and this stuff we've already covered over the last few weeks. And then of course the war chests that I highly recommend you go out and do for the long haul, as we did a video yesterday as they're recording this one and posting that you can see the results from a year's worth of free chests, picking up nearly well, I'll leave you to watch the video if you're interested in seeing how much was actually picked up and if there were any premium tanks got from a year's worth of free war chests from doing the long haul and season pass and that sort of stuff as well. So either way, that's it for today. Hopefully you understand my views on some of the tanks that have been re-released again. And of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of all of the sales, all of the tanks that we've covered, the introduction of the toy tank mode. And yeah, if you don't see me again and you want, or you haven't gonna watch any more of my videos, God, I'm absolutely flailing here. Then make sure to have a great Christmas. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day and the rest of your week. If you're not working, have a great one. If you are working, have a great one. Enjoy your time. And yeah, I will see you tomorrow with another video on that double tap vehicle. And so yeah, I'll see you there. Goodbye.